there are so many kinds of people. They live in different social states, right? We have to deal with these people when we are living our life. So there's a problem which origins inside our mind when we live with these people and that problem is we compare our life with them, right? We compare our problems and our life and our social states with other people's lives. Remember, this comparison is not the problem. This comparison can be used in many ways. People use it in many ways, right? Some people, they use this comparison to motivate themselves, right? Now, when you see athletes and the people who are doing sports, when they see the players or athletes which have more capacity and more talents than them, then they try to compare themselves with others, and what they do is they develop themselves. They motivate themselves to do more, to practice more, right? So this comparison can be used in a good way. But many of us doesn't do that. What we do is we compare our life with others and we become frustrated with our life. Now this happens for many people who use social media. When they visit Facebook or Instagram, there are so many cases and there are so many problems that origins when you visit social media, because you see, when you visit those platforms, you see so many pictures of other people, how they live their life, how they eat, how they dress, how they go out in Sunday nights and Saturday nights. So you see such pictures. But currently, you may be not in a situation to enjoy your life. Sometimes you may be in a problem. So what you do is, you compare that life with your life and you become frustrated. You become sad. You become depressed. That is why, from researchers, it has been proved that the people who visit and who are in social media for long times, they have a higher probability of having the social stress and depression and mental stress inside. Why? That is because of this frustration due to comparison. So that is the comparison that we need to stop, right? If you compare your life with someone and if you become motivated to be and develop more inside you, then it's a good one. So, when you see the happy lives of others, right? If you compare, then you become frustrated. Remember, you cannot be someone else, right? We can only be ourselves. If you try to be someone else, that means you're wasting your life. You're wasting your valuable time that can be used to develop yourself. So the first thing that you have to know is that I cannot be someone else, I can be me. You can be the best version of yourself. That is what we need to do. So what we have to do is we need to battle with ourselves. We don't want to battle with others, right? We don't want to be competitive. We don't want to have races. We don't want to do that. What we have to do is we need to battle with our own weaknesses. We need to try hard to eliminate and destroy our own weaknesses, our own faults, our own bad habits. That is what makes our life develop. But if you compare with others' lives and if you become frustrated and if you do nothing, you're not developing anything, right? So it is like running a race. Now, you all have seen athletes running races, right? So, athlete's job is to be the best person, the best athlete in his track, right? His job is to run as fast as he can in his track. But if he keep on staring on others' tracks, and if we keep thinking on what others do, he will not be successful. He will not become a successful athlete. So what he needs to do is to run as fast as he can by focusing on his own track, and then he will become a successful athlete. So life is also like that. You need to focus on your track. You need to focus on your life. How I'm going to develop my good qualities. How I'm going to develop my spirituality. How I'm going to develop my mental strength. If you focus on yourself, you see the weaknesses and strengths and opportunities that you have within yourself. Then you can have and you can develop these things inside you. Right? But if you merely comparing on other selves and staring to others' life, and if you do nothing, you will be in the same place forever. So I will give you a good suggestion that was given by our great teacher Supreme Buddha to stop this comparison. Right? That divine quality that Buddha explained that we should develop within ourselves is called Mudita. What is that name? Mudita. Mudita means appreciative joyfulness. So the main aim in practicing this mind of mudita, the mind of appreciative joyfulness, is to eliminate the jealous or the envy that we build up inside by comparing our lives with others. Right? Normally when we compare, we build up the jealous inside. Right? That is what makes our life frustrated. That is what makes our mind stressed and depressed. So what we need to do is to practice mudita or appreciative joyfulness. So how to practice it? Here's how to do it. It's a simple way. It's a simple and a practical way. You should apply these things to your practical world when you're living in your life, right? This is how to do it. Is when you see the good lives of other people, when you see the bright sides of people, what you need to do is you need to practice your mind to be happy by seeing them, to wish the well-being of their life. Right? If you can be happy by seeing their good lives, if you can be happy by enjoying others' lives, you will never be frustrated. Right? You have to be happy, and you have to say, you have to wish the well-being of others from the deepest place in your heart. Then you will build up an inner happiness. Right? You are not comparing yourself with others. You become happy by seeing others' success. But still, you have the mind to develop your own qualities, to eliminate your own weaknesses. Right? You can use that comparison in a good way. So that is how to practice the mudita. So here's a simple way and a practical way to do it. Whenever you get up early in the morning, before you get down from your bed, just sit on the bed, close your eyes, and for maybe 5 seconds, you can think, may all the beings in this world become successful. May they enjoy their life. May they be happy forever. Wish the well-being of others. If you wish it, you will not become frustrated. right? The best thing that you have to remember is you can be yourself only. You cannot be someone else. So try to develop your own good qualities and try to eliminate your own weaknesses. Battle with yourself, right? It is you versus you. You need to always give that and be the best version of yourself, right? If you do the best thing that you can be, you should do, and if you become the best person that you can become, then you don't want to worry about other things, right? You don't want to worry about the talents and the things that you did not have in your life, because that is because you became the best person of yourself. That is what you can do. So stop comparing yourself. Develop mudita, the appreciative joyfulness, and enjoy your life, enjoy your peacefulness by developing these good qualities. Have you ever wondered why some people are so good and so clever in what they're doing? Maybe there are some people who are studying with you, maybe some people who are in your workspace. There are some people who are very clever and very capable of doing in their profession. Okay, they are very successful in it. What is the reason behind this? What is the reason behind this success? Well, if we can define success in one word, the only word that we can find is consistency. This quality is very important for all of our lives. Not only in your day-to-day life, not only in your career, but also in your spiritual path. Okay, if someone is practicing spiritual path, consistency is the key for success. Okay, now what do you mean by consistency? Consistency means doing something every single day or without stopping for a long period of time until you get better at it. Now, if we look at our life, there are some bad habits we all have in our life. Okay, why we are so good at these bad things? The reason behind why we are so good at bad things is we have done it for a long period of time, every single day, without stopping. That is the nature of our mind, and that is the nature of our life. Whether it is good or bad, if we are doing it consistently, or if we are doing it over and over for a long period of time, we get so good at it. That is why we are so good at distractions. That is why we are so good at anger, jealousy, and all these evil thoughts in our mind, because we have practiced it over a long period of time. Now, Buddha said, if you need to cultivate wholesome thoughts, and if you need to do, and if you need to be successful in your spiritual life, what are you going to do? You have to cultivate and you have to practice these wholesome thoughts or wholesome activities for a long period of time without stopping. Okay, every single day. Okay, let's keep the spiritual life for a part. Let's take the studying and education. Now, if you're someone who is studying and if you're someone who is focused on education, what do you have to do? You have to keep studying. Okay, sometimes you find very difficult and very challenging to keep studying. Why? Because our mind gets distracted. Okay, sometimes we lose our focus. Now, in that time, so many of people, they complain that I cannot study. Okay, I'm distracting always. What is the reason? Why? What is the problem with me? Well, the only problem behind the failure or the unsuccessfulness is lack of consistency. Sometimes we try to study and then we feel tired and we feel less focused, and then we give up. Okay, and then after maybe like 2-3 days, again we try to study, and then again the same thing happen, and then we give up. Okay, in that way you're not going to be successful. Okay, if you want to be successful in any field of your life, maybe studying, maybe in your meditations, maybe in your spiritual life, maybe in kindness, maybe cultivating compassion in your life, what do you have to do? You have to be consistent. That is the only way to be successful in anything. I can still remember when we came to become monks, okay, on the first day, our monks gave this first advice to us. That is, they said that it takes several minutes to become a monk physically, okay? It takes a few minutes to make your body a monk. But it takes years and years, maybe lifetime, to be a monk from your mind. You will fail, you will be unsuccessful in some parts in your life, but you have to keep going. Do not ever quit. That is the first advice that we were given. So, to be good at anything, to be successful, to be happy, to be successful in your spiritual life, to practice meditations, to be good at that, what are you going to do? Keep doing it every single day. That is the thing. But there's a problem. The real problem or the real enemy for the consistency is the higher expectations. We set a lot of high expectations in our life, and when we are not able to get it, we give up. That is the only thing. Now, so many people come to me and complain that I cannot meditate for 1 hour. What is the problem with me? I cannot focus for 1 hour. Well, in the beginning, no one can do that. Okay, there may be some few lucky people in this world. Okay, they can concentrate instantly. But if you want to be good at in your meditations, in your focusing and your concentration power, what do you want to do? Keep doing it. Okay, do not set high expectations. Right? Aim for the little achievements. Maybe like you can focus and you can think like before you are starting meditation, you can think, well, if my mind became concentrated or well focused only for 1 minute, that's okay. I'm happy with that 1 minute. Okay? When you focus on that, you can easily achieve it. You can do that. When you achieve it, you feel a sense of happiness in your life. You feel like you achieved that target. So in the next day, when you meditate, maybe you can focus your mind or you can concentrate your mind for 2 minutes. Okay? So if you keep on focusing on little achievements and without having high expectations in your life in the first time, then you will be good at maintaining your consistency. Because sometimes when we don't see results, okay, when we don't get results quickly as we want, we just give up. That is the biggest problem in our minds, okay? To be successful, you need to spend a period of time that you are not seeing the results, okay? One day I was climbing, and in Sri Lanka, we have a nice mountain where we climb to see the Buddha's footprint, okay? That is called Adam's Peak or the Sri Pada in Sri Lanka. So once we were climbing, we could not see the mountain top. We don't know where we are going, okay? So one monk said to me, it doesn't matter, you cannot see where you are going, but if you're clear in your next step, take that step, okay? And if you're in the correct path, no matter how fast or slow you go, you will go to your destination that you want to go. So always remember that it doesn't matter how fast or how slow you are moving towards success. The most important thing is that whether you're going to do it every single day in the correct way or not. So remember, consistency is the key for success for anything. So keep doing what you're doing, right? Keep doing the good works that you're doing, even if you don't see the results in your life. Keep doing it, and one day I'm very sure that you will achieve your goals definitely. So keep that in your mind. May you be happy and well. Question: do you know about the green-eyed monster? The green-eyed monster is nothing but the jealousy that arises within our hearts. So today, we're going to talk about how to deal with jealousy that arises within our minds. Jealousy is one of the most hardest experiences and emotions that we have to go through in our life. It is very hard to admit, and also it is very hard to remove from our hearts. So how can we deal with this jealousy? First of all, let's see why we feel jealousy. We often feel jealousy when we hear or when we see that someone is better than us. Someone is more capable than us. Someone is more smarter and genuine than us. Then we start to compare ourselves with that person, and we start to feel jealousy. So, what is the reason for this jealousness? When we explore the emotion of jealousy, we can find the selfishness or the self-centeredness is deeply rooted within this jealousness. That is why we feel jealousy all the time. So selfishness means that if someone is thinking only about that person, and if he is thinking that he is the greatest person of all, so chances are very high for that person to feel jealousy on people who are better than that person. So, how can we deal with this? And how can we stop this jealousness? There are a few things that you can do, right? The first thing that you should do is to admit that you are jealous of that person. In most of the time, when we feel jealous, we refuse to admit that we are jealous of that person. We hide our emotions and we make excuses for our own evil emotions. So what you have to do is be humble and admit that I am jealous of that person. Okay? Then only you can identify the real emotion and real state of your mind. So first thing that you have to do is to admit that you are jealousy of that person. Second thing that you have to do is to realize that we all are different from one to another. For an example, there are 4 elements in this world. The water element, the earth element, air element, and the fire element. These are the 4 elements that prevails in this world. So if I ask from you, which one is the best element out of these 4? What is the answer of yours? You may say that we cannot compare these 4 elements because these elements are unique from one to another. They serve differently to this world, so we cannot compare. We cannot say which one is the better one. Same goes with our human lives. We are different from one to another. There are no same and identical people in this world. Even the identical twins are different from emotions and feelings. So that is why we should not compare ourselves with others, right? We all are different. And also you have to realize there is a person always in this world who is better than you, right? You can be the best in the world sometimes, but remember, there will be always a person who has the potential to beat you. Instead of competing with others in the society, let's try to compete with ourselves, right? Let's try to battle with ourselves and let's try to improve ourselves and bring the better version of ourselves daily, right? So that is what we have to do. Your competition should not be with the people who are around you, but your competition should be with the person who is inside yourself, right? Try to bring the better version of yourself every single day. When you're competing with yourself, there's no competition with others in the society, and you will never feel jealous on them, right? And also there's a special practice that our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, taught us to do whenever you feel jealousy. What is that? It is one of the most coolest practices in Buddhism. It is called Mudita. The Pali word is called Mudita. Mudita means the appreciative joyfulness, or in another word, the sympathetic joyfulness. When you practice mudita, you will have the ability to wish the well-being of the people around you. Whether he or she is better than you or lower than you, you can have the ability to wish the well-being and the development and the success of the people. Right? These are the thoughts of mudita. So how can we practice these thoughts of mudita? There are a few simple things that you can do, right? Try this out every single day. Whenever you get up from the bed in the morning, right? Just don't rush into distractions quickly. Just sit on the bed, close your eyes, and wish the well-being and the development and the success of all the beings in this world equally, right? You can close your eyes and think, may all beings in this world be well and happy. May they be successful in their life. May they be developed with the successness. When you think and when you mean these emotions from your heart, you can develop the mudita within you. And when you're going to the society and when you see the people who are better than you, who are more capable than you, then automatically the thoughts of mudita will come to you and it will take control of your emotions, right? So never let that green-eyed monster or the jealousy to take control over your mind. Instead of that, let's practice the mudita and let's wish the well-being of the people, right? So be a big fan of watching people and being happy by seeing they are growing up in their life and by seeing they are becoming successful in their life. Because at the end of our life, we all have to leave this world and we take nothing from this world, right? So that is why we need to collect more good deeds and we need to practice more good emotions within our hearts, okay? So never be jealous at people because there's nothing good that we can gain by mere being jealous on other people, right? So practice mudita, appreciate and be happy by seeing the people growing up in their life. When you become happy by seeing the success of others, you can be happy about yourself also. How to be mentally strong and how to develop a strong mindset? Well, first of all, let's take a look at what is a strong mindset is. Now, just take a look at this Dhammapada verse from the Buddha. The Buddha said, Selo yatha ekagano vatenana samirati evang ninda pasangsasu nasami janti pandita. As a rock that is unshaken by the storm, so too the wise are unshaken by the praise and the blame. Now, have you seen these big masses of rock? No matter how fast the wind blows, it is not shaken. The Buddha said, same like that rock, the wise people, they are unshaken by the praise and the blame in their life. And that is a strong mindset. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a few tips that you can practice to build up a strong mindset. Tip number 1 is to maintain a stable mindset in ups and downs in life, right? You know, life is like an ocean. Sometimes ocean is calm and quiet and peaceful, and sometimes it is stormy, right? We face ups and downs in life. The Buddha said these are called 8 worldly conditions, attaloka dhamma. That means praise and blame, gain and loss, fame and disgrace, and pleasure and pain. These are the 8 worldly conditions that we face in our life. Remember these things. So, Buddha said, accept these ups and downs in life. Whenever people criticize you, whenever people blame you, whenever you go through tough times in your life, if you can be mindful about your mind and your emotions and your feelings and not to chase after these emotions and feelings, then you can be more stable in these situations. You can maintain a good emotional balance in these situations. So it is very important to be mindful and to practice the self-awareness in these situations. And also remember, you will not be able to always get the sweet comments and sweet opinions and sweet experiences in your life. Life will give tough times to you. Life will throw lemons at you. So you have to maintain a stable mindset whenever you go through these situations, by practicing the mindfulness and the self-awareness. Remember that. Tip number 2 is to build the resilience inside the mind. The resilience means the ability to stand up and bounce back when you go through the adversities and when you go through the challenging situations in your life. To practice this, one thing that you have to know and one thing that you have to understand is that what is in your control and what is not in your control. If you have a good understanding about what is in my control in my life and what is not in my control in my life, right? For an example, if people comes up to you and if they're starting to criticize you, those criticisms, those words that other people speaks about you is not under your control. But what is in your control is your reaction to them. It is always a choice. You can think about this like, should I become angry with this? Should I take this negativity? Should I share this negativity with them and be negative as them? If you can question like that, then you're not ready to take that negativity. And also, remember, having a strong mindset does not mean that you're falling down and you're feeling hurt and you're feeling down. Having a strong mindset means you can stand up as soon as possible when you go through these tough situations. You can quickly stand up and you can quickly retrieve back to the normal situations in your life. That is called the resilience. So to practice this, you have to have a good understanding about what is in your control in your life and what is not in your control. The experiences happens to you and the things that people say to you, other people's opinions, other people's thoughts about you is not under your control. But all the things that is inside your mind, your opinions about them, your reaction to those experiences, totally under your control. So if something is not under your control, you don't want to worry about it because you cannot make any change about it. But if something is under your control, definitely you can make a change about it. You can change your choice, but not others. So remember that. And also you have to cultivate a problem-solving mindset. If you're easily panicked by the problems, or if you're easily triggered by the problems, then it is not easy to solve the problems, right? But if you can maintain a calm and a peaceful mindset, even when you go through the problems or tough situations in your life, then it is very easy to go into the roots and solve the problems. Sometimes we take the problems as ourselves. Like we think, we are the anger, I am this problem, why is this happening to me, right? Remember, everything that happens to you will be impermanent. It is not a permanent thing, right? It will be changed one day. So what do you have to do? Keep that problem aside and try to dive into the roots of that problem. Ask from yourself, why this thing happened to me, right? What is the reason for this, right? What is the real reason for this? Where did I make the mistakes? And go to that problem, go to the root, and then you can solve that problem. That is how you build up a problem-solving mindset. And finally, tip number 3, last but not least, you have to practice a mindset of self-love and self-compassion. Remember, if you're loving yourself, if you truly love yourself, you're not going to take other people's negativity with you, right? You're not ready to take other people's negativity with you. Whatever the thing that comes up to you, whatever the person comes up to you and bring their negativity with you, you say, well, I'm not going to take this negativity with me. I want to be peaceful. I want to love myself. I truly love myself. Therefore, I'm not ready to take your negativity. I'm not sharing this negativity with you. That is called self-love and self-compassion, right? To practice this, you can add up a simple practice that you can do it daily, right? When you get up early in the morning, just sit on your bed and think, no matter what happens during the day, I am going to love myself. I'm not going to take any negativity from this world, right? I'm going to empty my bin and I'm going to take a new bin to this world, right? Do you know if you've kept all the bad things and trash in your bin for a long time, what will happen? If you're in your trash bin, it will start to smell, no? But if you remove every single day all the trash in your bin and make it make it a clean place, then it's very easy to live. It's very easy to be peaceful within. So practice the self-compassion and self-love to build a strong mindset. Some people think that the people who are easily lose their temper, some people think that people who show their toughness and rudeness, they have this strong mindset. But no, anger and showing this negativity is not a sign of strength. It's a sign of weakness, right? If you are easily triggered by people, if you're easily triggered by the people's reactions, then it's not a strong mindset. The strong mindset is the mindset that is not disturbed by the ups and downs in your life. So practice these simple steps, right? Build a stable mindset, make your mind a resilient one, and finally, love yourself more than any other person in this world. When you practice these steps, you can build up a mindset that is unshaken by the ups and downs in your life. So I wish you all, may all of you find the happiness in your life. Still, I can remember this incident. When I was little, when I was at school, one of my teachers came to our noisy classroom and she asked from us, "Do you know why you have given 2 ears and 1 mouth?" Then she said, "The reason why we have given 2 ears and 1 mouth is to talk less and to listen more." Ladies and gentlemen, when we deal with people in our relationship life, in your family life, in your workspace, if you have this quality of active listening, that can help you in many ways. This quality can help you in many ways. Okay? Now, so many people come to our temple and they talk with the monks with their problems and about their family problems, the problems in the workspace. And there's one thing that they all say, and that is, they say, they are not listening to me. They are not willing to pay attention to me. They cannot understand me. That is one thing that they say. So, if you have the art of active listening, if you practice the art of active listening, you will be liked by many people, right? People always like to talk with someone who is paying more attention to them, right? If you consider about the Buddha, Buddha was a great listener. At one time, one man comes up to the Buddha and he starts insulting him, right? He starts blaming him. All through that incident, the only thing that Buddha did was he listened to that person, right? He paid a good attention to that person. And in another time, one lady comes with her son died on her hand. And she was wailing and she was lamenting in front of the Buddha. And the only thing that the Buddha did was, he paid attention to that lady's suffering. Right? He listened to that lady's suffering. So, if you can practice this art of active listening, if you can listen more and talk less, people will start to like you. Remember that. For an example, if you come up to me, right? If you wanted to talk about a problem that you are having in your life, and from the beginning of the conversation, if I started to give you instructions and give you the advice and my opinions about that problem, what would you feel? You will start to think like, this monk cannot understand me. He's not willing to pay attention to me. He's not willing to listen to me. So practice this art of active listening. So how can we practice the listening? Well, the Buddha said that all the words that we speak from our mouth is pre-processed in our mind. That means we think first all these words and then we put it into our mouth and we speak. So if we can be mindful about what we think, what is going on in our mind, then it is very easy to control what you speak. And then it is very easy to know when to speak and when not to speak. So this practice is called, being mindful about the thoughts is called Chittanupassana in Buddhism, right? For that, the only thing that we have to do is like just sit in a quiet place and just watch our thoughts, what comes to our mind. We don't want to react with that thought. We don't want to chase behind that thought. Just identify the thought as just a thought. That is one practice that you can practice to be a good listener. And also, there's another way to practice this listening ability is to engage in conversations and try to listen more to that person. So, in the next conversation that you're having, try this out. Go to someone, and if they wanted to talk with you, just from the beginning of the conversation, tell it to yourself that I'm going to listen to this person more. I'm going to pay attention to this person more. That is one way of paying and showing your love and affection to the person that is in front of you, right? That is why lending a good ear and listening to someone and sharing their suffering or problems with them is one way of showing your compassion and love towards them. Okay? So in the next conversation, when you go through that, just listen more to them. Let them put out what is in their mind. And when they go silent, and then you have to ask some more questions. Tell me, how did you do that? Right? How it happened? Right? Tell me more about the details that happened. Then they will be more interested in talking with you and they will start to like you and love you. When you practice this, then you will get used to this active listening. Okay? And also remember, do not listen to someone just to reply to them or just to give your opinion to them. Always listen to people to understand about their situation, to understand who the person behind these words, and to understand the intention behind these words. When you do that, then you will become an active and a good listener, and then you will be liked by many people. So that is all about the active listening. Be mindful about your thoughts and listen more than you talk. Keep that in your mind. Welcome to today's video. In today's video, we are going to take a look at the concept of karma according to Buddha's teachings. Now, when you hear the word karma, the first question that comes to your mind is, what is karma? What is the meaning of this word? Well, if you take a look at the definition of karma, it gives the meaning of action, right? But in Buddhism, it is more than action. The Buddha said it is intentional action is the karma. In Nibbedika Sutta, Buddha explains this as Chetanahang bhikkhave kammang vadami, chetayitva kammang karoti, kayena vachaya manasa. Monks, I say that intention is the action, or intention is the karma. And intentionally or willingly, one performs actions or karma either physically, mentally, or verbally. That means that intention, chetana, or the intention, plays a greater role behind our karma. Now, according to the intentions, the karma can be divided into two types. Buddha said there are kusala karma and akusala karma, wholesome actions and unwholesome actions, right? Now, what is wholesome action? They are the actions, they are the things that we do with wholesome intentions, right? Like we do certain things with wholesome intentions like love and kindness, compassion, patience, serenity, right? when we do certain things from our body, speech, and our mind with wholesome actions, wholesome intentions, we generate karmas that are wholesome. And also there's the other side of the karma, that is unwholesome actions. Okay? Now, akusala karma or unwholesome actions is a broader topic, because so many people think that akusala karma is something that is bad when it comes to unwholesome actions, right? Akusala karma is not only bad, but also there's another hidden meaning behind this. And that is, there are certain things, there are certain actions that we perform during our day-to-day life, right? They're the things that we do in day-to-day life, like talking and writing and like sleeping and traveling. We need actions and we need intentions to do this. Intentionally we do all the actions. But they're not certainly unwholesome. So the meaning of akusala karma means the actions that do not fall under the wholesome actions or kusala karma. Of course, there is the unwholesome actions or the bad karma or the evil karmas that we do, and also there is other neutral karmas that we perform during our day-to-day life. So they are called the unwholesome actions, right? So based on the intention, the karma can be divided into two different parts, and they are wholesome actions and unwholesome actions. Kusala karma and akusala karma. Okay? And the word karma does not come alone. It comes with this word vipaka or phala, right? Vipaka, the word vipaka gives the meaning of result or outcome. And the word phala gives the meaning of the fruit. Okay? Now the word phala is a great word to understand about the law of karma. Let's understand about it in this way. Let's say I planted a mango seed on the ground. In few years' time, what do I get? I can have mangoes, right? And also, if I planted a chili seed, in few months' time, what can I get? I can get chili, right? So, when we plant something, a seed, it has the potential to give the result in the future, right? If I planted a mango seed, that mango seed has the potential, it has the ability to generate mango fruits in the future. Okay? Same like that. If I did a certain karma in this moment, right? If with an intention, if I perform an action in this moment, it has the potential to create a series of experiences in the future, whether it is good or bad, right? So remember, the vipaka is the effect that we are going to get in the future, right? Now, this whole idea behind this law of karma is the law of cause and effect. When we make the conditions for something, then we are going to get the results out of it in the future. Now, the nature of the results highly dependent on the nature of the karma that we perform today. Let's understand about this in this way. Now, I planted the mango seed, right? That mango seed had the power to generate mangoes in the future, right? But if I wish this mango seed to give chilies in the future, no matter how hard I wish, I will never get chili out of it. I get mangoes because it has the nature of generating mangoes. Same like that, right? If I did an action with an intention, it has the power to generate the experiences or the vipakas in the future. So if the nature of this karma that I am performing today has the intention of wholesome, or if I did with a pure mind, a pure intention, it can generate desirable experiences in the future, desirable results in the future, because that is the nature of this seed of karma. In the same way, if I did something unwholesome with an unwholesome intention, I will get unwholesome or undesirable experiences in the future, because it has the nature of generating undesirable experiences in the future. So this is the whole idea behind the law of karma. Now, why do we need to understand about the law of karma and how karma works? Now, if you had a good understanding about the law of karma and how karma works, it is very easy to be compassionate on others. And it is very easy to be compassionate on yourself. Right? There are certain things and certain experiences that happens due to our past karmas. Right? Now, according to Buddhism, we believe that we are coming from a long journey of rebirth that is called samsara. Now, in this long samsara, we have performed both good and bad karmas. So, in this life, we are going to get some sort of experiences from our past karmas. Okay? So, if you take a look at that, when the tough times comes, when the problems comes to your mind, sometimes people blame to themselves. People hate themselves and think like, I'm a bad person, right? I'm a bad person. I'm a negative person. No, right? Just because you performed a bad karma doesn't say that you're a bad person. Okay? Because each and everyone, we are living in this society, in this world, perform good and bad karma. Okay? So we don't want to hate ourselves. We can be compassionate on ourselves, right? Everyone is subjected to this law of karma. And also, if you have a good understanding about the law of karma, it is very easy to be mindful and be in this present moment. Why? Because sometimes we worry about the things that has happened in the past, right? We worry about the things that we have done in the past. And we think like, oh, I did this thing and my whole life is ruined, right? Of course, you cannot change the past, right? That is the truth. You cannot change the past. And also, you cannot stop the outcomes of the things that you have done in the past, or the results or the vipakas that you have done in the past. Okay? You cannot change it. What is within your control and what you can change is this present moment. And if you become mindful about this present moment, then you can create good karma, not the bad ones. So I hope you got a little understanding about the karma and how it works. So until next video, stay happy and stay safe. Welcome to another video. In today's video, let's talk about how to control these emotions of anger. Well, anger itself is a natural human emotion. We all feel angry. But if we do not know how to control this emotion, if we do not know how to deal with anger, sometimes it can be destructive. And if we let that anger to control over our life, we will get into lots of troubles. So, today, I'm going to introduce you a little practice that you can practice in your practical life to deal with this emotion. Well, first of all, I have to remember, none of these practices are easy. In fact, nothing in life that brings us the happiness, that brings the peacefulness to your life is not an easy task. It is a difficult one. Though it is difficult, we cannot abandon it because we like to be happy and we like to be peaceful in our life. So that is why Buddha said that everything that brings the happiness to your life is a difficult task. So what are the things that we can do to deal with these emotions of anger? Well, the first and the foremost thing that you can do to deal with these emotions is to acknowledge that your thoughts are in anger. If you don't know your thoughts are in anger, you cannot deal with it. So this includes the mindfulness, right? Whenever you are about to get angry, whenever you feel that you are triggered by this anger, just ask this question, what am I thinking now? In which mode my thoughts are in now, right? Whenever you ask that question and whenever you answer it, you can find, oh, I'm about to get angry now. Now my thoughts are in anger. That is the first step, to know that you are angry. Then it comes to the second step, right? So in this second step, if you look at this, if I ask a question from you, whenever you feel angry, imagine a situation that you have felt angry about something or someone, right? How your breathing pattern works. How our breathing pattern changes when we feel angry. It speeds up and we take short breaths, right? So that gives the sign to our body, that gives the message to our body that now you're ready for getting angry. We are breathing heavily, we are breathing in short periods, and we are breathing speedily. So the first thing that you can do is to slow down your breathing pattern. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Take another deep breath in and let it out. Slowing down the breathing pattern will help you to calm your body and calm your mind, right? Whenever we feel calm and when we are about to take a rest, what is the thing that we do? For an example, after a long day of work, when you come home and after having a good shower, if you fell on the couch, right? If you fell on the bed, what is the first thing that you do? You take a deep breath in and let it out. That is the thing that you do. That means you are giving the signal to your body that you are about to get calm or to have a rest. So the thing that we have to do, whenever we feel angry, whenever we feel panicked, just give the message to your body that be calm by taking 2 to 3 deep breaths in and out, right? So breathing can help you a lot. Then as the third step, now you're a little bit peaceful and calming. Now you can wisely reflect on your thought pattern. When you reflect about your thoughts, you can find, why did I become angry with this person? What is that? Then you can find that anger does not prevail in the outer world, in that person or that thing, specific thing. Anger prevails in my mind, right? It is something that I have created. Whenever you come to a situation that you are triggered to be angry, you come up with these two choices, either to react with negativity or to respond with positivity. That is up to you, right? And your experiences and your good and bad experiences depends on these choices that you make. So you totally have the power and you totally have the privilege to respond with positivity, right? So you have to believe in patience for that. Remember, there is nothing in this world, there is no problem in this world that has been solved with anger. That is why Buddha said, anger does not cease by anger, or hatred does not cease by hatred. Hatred is ceased by love and kindness only. So you have to believe in patience and compassion and forgiveness. That is the way that you are going to solve the problem, right? Though you react in anger, though you yell out or scream or take actions with anger, that is not going to help. That is not going to solve the problem. It will make the problem even more worse. I have seen lots of people who could not control their anger for a split second. Just because they could not control their anger for a split second, now they are regretting for their whole life. So remember, anger is not going to help you. So when you believe in patience and kindness and compassion, you will have this strength to face that situation more positively. Remember what Buddha said. The Buddha said, before you do something from your body, from your speech, or from your mind, just wisely reflect that what I'm going to do, is this worthy of doing? Is it bringing happiness to myself, or is it bringing happiness to others? Is it going to hurt others, or is it going to hurt myself? If it is hurting you and if it is hurting to other self, do not try to do it. Remember, it is okay that we feel angry sometimes in our mind, but it is not okay to let that anger to flow out from our bodily actions and our words, right? So remember, this is how we can control it. Always believe in patience and kindness. That is where you're gonna solve the problems. So this is a little practice where we can deal with these emotions of anger. So practice these practices little by little and make your life a peaceful one. I'm a good person. I help everyone. I don't hurt anyone. I can see myself as a good person. But still, why all these bad things? Why all these painful things, sufferings happen to my life? Why life always keep testing me always? Well, these questions we've asked most of the times in our life, right? Do you know how Buddha saw this? In the night of his enlightenment, the first thing that he realized was that life is consist of suffering. Suffering is a part of everyone's life, right? So Buddha did not say suffering as a part of good people's life or a bad people's life. Buddha saw that suffering was universal, right? But when we face adversities in life, when we face these realities like painful situations in our life, we think that the only person who is going through this suffering, the only person that is going through this difficulty is only me. That is how everyone feels. Not to lie, sometimes I feel that. But what Buddha teaches us to see it as is to see the suffering as a universal thing. I'll tell you a story. A young mother lost her baby. But she loved her baby so much that she refused to accept her baby's death. What she did? She took her baby and ran from one village to another, one city to another, finding a doctor to cure her baby. But no one could bring a dead person back to life. Finally, she met the Buddha. The Buddha said, "Okay, I will cure your baby. But we need one medicine to do this. Can you bring it? Go and bring a handful of mustard from a family that no one has ever died." So the mother was so much happy. She thought that she could find this easily. So she ran to the village and went to the first house that she found and asked, "Do you have a handful of mustard that I can get?" Then when the householder was about to give the handful of mustard, she said, "Has anyone died in your family?" Then they said, "Oh, my uncle died last year." Then she said, "I don't want your mustard." She went to the next house and she got the same answer. Someone had died. She went to the other one. She went from one house to another and she went through the whole village. The only word that she heard was, "Someone died." Death. Then she understood, okay, death is not only for me. Death was something that I always heard in this journey. Maybe my child is dead. So she made her heart strong enough to accept her baby's death. She went back to the monastery to meet the Buddha and thanked the Buddha for curing not the baby, but her heart. What Buddha teaches us to see about life is that to see the suffering as universal. So next time when you go through a difficulty in your life, and the next time when you go through a hardship, painful feeling in life, understand that you are not all alone. There are so many people who is going through in life this in the same situation, the suffering. Okay? Most of the time, we try to remove the suffering from life. We always wish that this suffering was not there in our life. Right? We go to sleep thinking that next day morning when we wake up, all these things will be a dream. All these problems will disappear. But the reality is, when there is suffering in life, there is suffering. So that the first thing that we need to do is that accept that there is suffering in life. So the whole point of realizing the first noble truth in Buddhism is to accept the suffering as it is, to see the suffering as it is. Only when you accept the suffering, we can cure it. We can find a remedy for it. First of all, you need to accept that there is pain and suffering in all of our lives, right? And then we can choose what to do with it. Most of the time, we spend a lot of time worrying about changing what we can't change, right? But it all depends on how you choose to react to these experiences in life. Most of the time, these painful feelings, sufferings that comes to our life are blessings in disguise, right? If we did not get difficult situations, if we did not get hardships to our life, right, challenges in our life, how can we develop a strong mindset, right? There's a saying that if you need to learn how to swim, what do you have to do? You have to jump to the pool. Somehow, you have to experience how drowning feels like. Only then you can realize that what should I do to learn how to swim, right? In the same way, there is no use of trying to avoid or wishing and praying that suffering was not there in life, right? There's no point of wishing and praying that, please don't give me suffering. Always wish a mindset that you can face strongly to all these sufferings and painful situations in life. Whenever you get a strong mind to face any kind of challenge in your life, then you can be happy and in peace, because you're ready for anything in your life, right? So always wish a strong mindset that you can face any challenge, any difficult situation in life. So remember that not only bad things happen to good people, good things also happen to good people. And also, sometimes you may think, why all those good things happen to bad people, right? It is not always the case. Good things happen to bad people, and also bad thing happens to good people. That is the law of this world. So we all need to develop the mindset to see the suffering as a common truth to everyone, not a personal thing. So I wish you all, may all of you be able to develop a strong mindset to face any challenge in all of your life.